GearNetwork.com.
This is a Gear Network production.
It's that time of year again, folks, the dog days of summer, and time to think about back-to-school shopping. Now save your time, save your money, and save your patience instead of going to Walmart and waiting in one line that's open out of 26 with 7,000 people in line ahead of you. Go to GearNetwork.com/Amazon and click on the back-to-school banner, and it will take you right to your account, and you can shop right there. And what's new this year, if you go there and you enter in your zip code, it's going to bring up the list of schools near your area. You can choose one and the grade that you're shopping for, and it's going to bring up the school list for that grade for that school. So you can cross-reference your school supply needs based on the list that was provided to Amazon. Sweet feature this year. Saves you a lot of time. Again, GearNetwork.com/Amazon. Click the back to school link. Do your shopping through there. It helps us out. It helps you out. And it definitely does not help Walmart out, but they don't need help anyway. So, again, thank you for bookmarking and saving and sharing our links to Amazon through GearNetwork.com.
From Wherever We Decide Studios, broadcasted live on iTunes, Spreaker, and worldwide, this is the Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast with your hosts, the Crimson Cyclone himself, Cyclone Jones, and of course, the producer, Pat G. The G stands for Gangsta. And now kick back and get ready for the eargasms.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know me, I know you, we know each other, back again. Cyclone Jones in the building. Pat G, the G stands for Gangsta. Pat G, tell him what it is.
Yes, it's the TTRP, Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast, brought to you by Gear Network. And of course, we're on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and every other podcasting format out there.
Now, typically, we start the show off just talking because you hear my beautiful voice. But today, we start off with a special interview.
Yes.
With promoter from Ignite Wrestling in Florida.
Yes. Kim Artlip.
Kim, thank you for joining us. Truly appreciate that.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited about this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, Kim, we're just going to get directly into the meat and potatoes of this. Now, just last week, you wrote up an article that honestly touched my cyclone soul. It was amazing. And it was about promoters getting a bad rep and treating wrestling as a business as it should be. Can you tell us a little about that article? What gave you that reason to do that article?
Well, I'm one of the columnists for the Gorilla Position, and one of my biggest gripes and complaints and problems I have is that look you get when you're a promoter and you say you're an owner and a promoter of a wrestling company, and you get that side eye little glance, and people go, "Oh, you have a real job?" But, it's so frustrating to me because people just have this weird preconceived notion of promoters being this sketchy dude that gives you a hot dog and a handshake and doesn't pay people and skips out at the middle of the show. Mm-hmm. And that's not all of us. There's quite a few of us, and I've become friends with some of these guys that I just think are fantastic business people, and they work really hard on the business aspect of it and building a brand, and it all gets just flushed down the toilet by these guys and their little shitty tactics.
Wow. I mean, and now the thing is that, just to point this out, that personally, you're the first female promoter I've ever met. That's amazing for me, What made you get into promoting? What made you want to change from your love of pro wrestling to promoting pro wrestling?
Honestly, and I get a lot of grief for telling this story, but I had a local community events website, and I was doing a feature on a local wrestling company. They'd asked me to come down and check them out and everything. And I'm a longtime fan. First show I ever saw was Bruno Sammartino in 1969, so that should tell you how old I am. I was 5 years old. And I went to this show, and it was probably one of the worst run shows I've ever seen. And I was not happy with what I was doing, and I told my husband that I could do a better job, because the more I sat there and watched the show and I looked at the fans and I looked at everything that I was thinking in my head could be done differently, it just clicked for me. It was something, I wanted to do something that I would be challenged with, and something that I would enjoy, because I really hated chasing down advertising, and stuff like that. But I love the planning. The planning and the social media and the marketing is the part that I enjoy the most.
Wow.
Well, one of the big things, one of the reasons why I'm close to your heart, because you're very big on the business side and promoting, and promoters actually doing the work of promoting their product,
right,
and not leaving it down to ticket sellers and all that. Kim, since we became friends on Facebook, I've had more posts from her about Ignite Wrestling than I have seen from locally. Like, she's posting every day, like every couple hours. And locally here in Western New York and Buffalo, yeah, you'll get your ESWs, because ESW is kind of the pinnacle here. But as far as everybody else, it's few and in between.
What do you think the reason is for promoters that are kind of lackadaisical about promoting compared to promoters like yourself who promote because that's what their job is to do, is to promote? What do you think the difference, where that switch is? Why don't you think they do it?
Some of them don't understand. They have no concept of social media. You can't tell them anything about social media. They don't want to listen because they think they know what they're doing. And they depend on the workers themselves to promote the show. They just don't want to be bothered because they're too busy either doing their shoot job or watching TV or, sitting in mommy's house and eating noodles. I don't know what they're doing. But, I actually had a promoter that I went to help, and I said, hey, I'll put up posters. He was doing a show. It's the guy that I saw that had the bad show. I said, I'll put up posters. Give me everything you got. I will blanket this town. He hands me an envelope. I get home. There are 4 posters in it. Now, how am I supposed to do 3 communities with 4 posters?
Wow.
But he wasn't out there grounded and pounding. And then you get to the show, and they're always mad, and they're ducking out, and they're bitter. And it's like, get out there and put some effort into it. It's one thing to get out there and put the effort into it and fail, but it's a totally different thing when you don't even put out any effort whatsoever. And then you blame the guys for not being a draw.
So basically you're saying that the promoters that aren't doing it just basically aren't doing their job. They're not promoting.
No, they're not. There are a lot of them that run in Florida that I don't, as much as I'm on social media, I don't even know they're running the show. They put 1 or 2 posts up, or they post at 2 a.m. Who the heck's up at 2 a.m.? If you post at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I get up, and I get up at 5, it's already buried. I can't see it. And with the algorithms on Facebook, and I tried to explain it to promoters, the way the algorithms are, if you don't have a huge following and you post at 1 or 2 a.m., by 8 o'clock when everybody gets up to have their cup of coffee, nobody's going to see it except for 7 people.
Wow.
Well, that rolls into another thing that we've talked about is using Facebook as your primary source of promoting, because we've talked it numerous times saying if you use Facebook, you're only promoting to what audience you have, your friends, which is the people on your friends list.
Who hate my guts and have me blocked. But no, I think I think my own family hates me. So if you do a post on Facebook, maybe 10%, 7 to 10% of your total followers will see what you do. I have 7,200 followers. I am lucky if I see some posts get any interaction whatsoever. And it depends on what you're posting. So we're doing Twitter and Instagram and Google Plus and Facebook and Nextdoor and, press releases and, emailing 80 websites, not counting everything that we do locally here, that we print and put out. And I still don't think we reach enough. I don't think I'll ever be happy with what we reach.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to something that I used to say when promoting on Facebook. And because, like, promoting on Facebook is a new thing now. Like, a lot of people promote on Facebook. A lot of people pay for pages, to promote, And I even did, like, Facebook gave me some money to promote my own not personal page, but my wrestling page. And it gave me money to promote. And it touched about, 1,500 people, I was amazed. So Facebook is and can be a way to promote. However, with some promoters, which I've seen, promoters are getting upset because people aren't putting it on Facebook. But my theory, and I like to hear your thoughts on this. My theory is, if you have 100 friends on your Facebook page, 50 of those friends aren't going to be pro wrestling fans. They're not going to want to see it. They don't care. Then you get the other 50 who are your dedicated fans and your so-so maybes. So-so maybes may come, may not come. That's 25% down already now. Then you got your dedicated fans. Out of your dedicated fans, out of that 25% that you have left, maybe 10% or 15% may come because of that. The other 10% that's not going to be able to make it may have prior plans, prior family plans.
Or it's a financial thing.
Or situations come up.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, like, and I know you're a Facebook promoter because you're doing it. You're putting it out there. You, like Pat said, you're on there every day. But I know you put the footwork in as well. What do you say to Facebook promoters that just do Facebook promoting?
I think you're limiting it to I'm going to say maybe 10. You're right. Maybe 10% of your audience is sitting there solid on Facebook, but as saturated as Facebook is, and as hard as it is for things to appear, people have short attention spans. Mm-hmm. When we start promoting shows 3 months out, unless you're really reminding them and the moon and the stars align and their paycheck comes, you can't rely on your Facebook friends to be the ones that show up and support your show.
Yes.
It's a great way to get it out there, and I'm posting in 127 groups right now.
Wow.
And I'm pulling more people out of groups than I am out of my friends, because if you look at, I have about 1,200 Facebook friends. Probably 3/4 of them are wrestlers that either working for me or aren't going to be at the show. Mm-hmm. And it's the same way you were breaking it down. I have relatives that absolutely won't come to a show.
Yeah.
Not their cup of tea. I have a lot of friends don't want to see it. I have some friends that will come because it's guys in tiny pants and girls in little outfits. But, there's a lot of people I know that either won't come because it's in a brewery, because we run in a brewery. Well, I'm not bringing my kids in a brewery,
right?
Even though it's a Saturday 1:00 show with a clown doing face paint. They won't want to come. There's always going to be an excuse,
right?
So it's just like in any business. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have multiple streams of income. You have to have multiple streams of reaching customers.
Yeah,
and that's the thing a lot of promoters don't get. There was a benefit show a week or so ago over in West Side, Florida, and the promoter, and he's in a wheelchair, great guy named James Richards. He was out there at a family-friendly event, and he handed out 1,000 flyers at an event and had the biggest crowd he's ever had in 7 years.
Wow.
Because he got out there, instead of relying on Facebook, he went out there and worked what he could. He can't go out and do a lot of stuff, but he could sit in a booth and hand out flyers.
Yeah.
So you have to adapt. And that's the problem with a lot of promotions, and why some of the promotions are going under, is they're not adapting. They're just like, well, people aren't coming, so-and-so's to blame. Mm-hmm. And screw Facebook, and it's always one excuse after the other.
Okay. So, with back to the article, the article you gave a good analogy of changing and being your own promotion, being your own dream. Oh, okay. You compared it to a store. That's what it was. You compared it to a store where the customers are shopping. I love that analogy because it's something where you have to give the fans something that they want. and not something that the promoter wants. How do you know, or how do you as a promoter get the ideas that you have so that the fans keep coming back?
Well, you have to listen. Well, when we do a show, I'm like I don't know how to say this. I work the crowd. Mm-hmm. So during the show, I'm talking not to my friends, but to the people I don't know. Hey, you having a good time? What do you like? What do you don't like? What did you hear about us? You know, that's how we figure out for the next show what works and what doesn't work. You know, you just can't do what you always want to do, and it's called be the product. And it's something I've taught for years to businesses. But, you know, my whole thing is we don't need another SmackDown. We don't need another Raw. We don't need the new face of the hardcore, the evolution of this. We need something that's going to appeal to everybody. And it depends on your market. My show's not a hardcore show. I've had a hardcore match in 14 shows. Mm-hmm. But that's not my audience. You have to look at where you live and who you're drawing and the kind of people you're drawing, because I'm primarily where there's an NXT crowd, so they're not coming to see an ECW show. Mm-hmm. And they're heavily into luchas and they like to see women wrestle. So, you know, we started looking at it. We watch and we listen and we watch the videos and we look at the photos. What matches are people engaging in? Mm-hmm. And, you know, you have to look at it. It's market research, just like you would with any other business.
Right.
It's just like, you know, what product is moving. Luchas move, fast-paced matches, women's tags, and scramble matches. So,
okay.
You know, you just have to look at what the crowd's popping to.
Right. Okay.
Because if it was me, I would have lucha and Stan Hansen style matches, and I'd be wrestling the Dirty Blonde, and I'd have Darius Carter down. And I love Darius from up in New York. I love Darius Carter. I'd have that dude down all the time.
Well, this is the thing, is with your promotion Ignite down in Florida, you say that they kind of like the lucha stuff, they like the women's wrestling. What else have you seen running Ignite for however long you've been running it that has led you to become the promoter that you are today?
A lot of what has shaped me, I will say, is two or three of my wrestlers, Lindsay Dorado, John Cruz, who wrestles with Serpentico, and Aaron Epic. Those three guys have been in my ear for almost 3 years now, telling me what, you know, when I would bounce things off of them, or you know, you always have you got to have somebody there that's the same voice, because otherwise it becomes a vanity show, and I don't want a vanity show. I want something, you know, that works and doesn't work. And we tried stuff, and we had things that tanked. And we had people that worked for us that tanked. And we had people that didn't want to listen to us and wanted to get on the mic and do a 10-minute promo when they were a mid-card match. It's things. It's trial and error. And, you know, we finally got to the point that nobody gets on the mic. Because it was too much dead air. It was killing the crowd. It was killing the flow. Any promos we do were shot backstage. I mean, it was something, you know, we had to go through a lot of growing pains to get to, and a lot of hurt feelings, and people that, you know, wanted to be part of it that aren't. And at the end of the day, it's not all about being buddies. It's about what's going to help the business in the long run.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, at this time, we usually get to the end of the interviews. We give the floor to the person we're interviewing. So this is your time, Kim, to promote Ignite, give out contact info for Facebook, Snapchat, all that fun stuff where people can reach you. Wrestlers can get a hold of you to maybe send you their stuff just to see, hey, maybe I'm going to be in the Florida area, you're running a show, maybe you can use me, kind of stuff like that.
Oh, Awesome. Okay, so we're easy to find on social media. We're at Ignite Wrestling on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, Vimeo, you name it, every platform we're out there. Now, we are doing a show August 25th. We will be at Walking Tree Brewery doing our inaugural Ignite Invitational 12-man tournament. We're working with Punk Pro Wrestling. We're going to have their champion, Trip Cassidy, there defending the title, as well as our female fighting champion, Aspen Rose, will be there defending her title plus exhibition matches. So it's going to be a great time. So check us out across social media. Like I said, Ignite Wrestling.
All right.
Cool.
Well, we thank you for joining us. We truly do appreciate it. Again, thank you for your time.
I appreciate you guys letting me come on.
Not a problem at all. That's the interview. Great interview, Patchy. I mean, that's the stuff that promoters should be doing.
Yes.
You know?
Because I saw the article on Facebook, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I read it and everything. And I was like, let me get a hold of. I was like, because this is right up Cyclone's alley, because he's been on his soapbox since we started about wrestling's a business. And,
I mean, it is a business, you know, it truly is a business. You know, you're in it. I mean, in her article, she did state that, you know, you're in it to, you know, entertain the fans. But, you know, I mean, it's still a business as well. You still have to make money somehow.
Yep.
You know, nobody can do it without money. So, I mean, you're making money, but you're making fans happy as well.
And she did touch on about the whole promoting on Facebook.
She did.
And she kind of gave an in-depth look to that because of bringing up the algorithms and everything.
Yeah.
Of how, like, Facebook actually helps you.
Exactly. If you don't have many followers, Facebook isn't going to really help you.
Exactly.
You know?
Or coming up the points of, like, people posting their things at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
And she's like, by the time 8 o'clock rolls around, everybody's getting their coffee.
Everything's already flushed down the drain. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's lost in Facebook land. But from that interview, we go directly into something that's going to hit home for a lot of people. Something that's going to be very, very,
gray area?
Not gray area, but very touching. I mean,
touchy, yeah.
It's a situation where Dave Meltzer,
yes, from the Wrestling Observer.
Who's
been a long-time wrestling journalist,
has said some words that has offended a lot of people.
Yep.
It has offended certain wrestlers.
It has.
And it has sparked up a huge storm.
It has.
So, well, what did he say, Patchy?
Him and Bryan Alvarez, who at one point I believe might have been associated with the WWE in some kind of writing capacity. Mm-hmm. They did it was the Wrestling Observer podcast, and they were talking about the recent call-ups from Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, who are the Iconics.
Who are lovely.
They are lovely.
And their accent is amazing.
They are.
Should I talk like that?
They're Australian.
They're Australian, yes, but listen, British and Australian, that would be amazing.
It would be.
Anyway, continue on what you're saying.
But at one point, Dave Meltzer made the comment about Peyton Royce looking lighter in her NXT days.
Right.
Which essentially made the assumption that she'd put on weight.
He tried to go the opposite way. Instead of, hey, you're fat, saying, oh, you look skinnier when you were at NXT.
Yes.
Yeah, he tried it. He thought people were stupid.
Yeah.
That's what he thought.
So,
see, go ahead.
Peyton Royce came out and she's like, well, excuse me, what should I do? Do you want me to starve? That's a great message to send to someone in this day and age.
Yeah. So what would you have me do, Dave? Starve myself? This is how nightmares for young women start. The females in your life must be proud.
Yes.
Word for word quote from the Twitter page.
And then everybody else started from Ember Moon to Charlotte to MVP to Tyler Breeze and many more.
To Lana, Beth Phoenix, like you said, Ember Moon, MVP, Seth Rollins.
A lot of people had opinions to this.
To Neil Dashwood.
And the thing is the apology that Meltzer gave
is half-assed.
Was very half-assed.
So let me just explain this now. You see, because I'm gonna go racial for a second.
Okay.
But that's like nothing new, right? With me?
No, not
at all. I go racial all the time.
This, before you get to that, this was the apology from Meltzer. I'd like to apologize to you. You are an exceedingly attractive woman. I do realize the lengths and pressures on women in the entertainment world to maintain unnatural looks at times, and glad you pointed this out. So now you can bring up the point you were going to make.
See, I'm a black man.
You state this all the time.
All the time.
And I'm the white guy.
You're the white guy.
Yep.
Typically, from what I've seen, white women or white men like skinnier white women.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That's what Vince likes.
Very true.
Because that's what Vince has been booking for quite some time back in the Diva days.
Well, on the side note is I've been listening to the Something to Wrestle podcast.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Everything.
Hold on. Mm-hmm. And as a black man, I love meat on the bones.
True.
I need something to hold on to at night.
True.
So Peyton Royce putting weight on is an amazing thing.
True.
Amazing. That's just me though.
Well,
go ahead.
You bring up the point of Vince McMahon. Well, listening to the Something to Wrestle podcast with Bruce Pritchard, they're talking about back when WCW closed. Because I'm a WCW mark, so I want to know all about that.
Yeah.
And he said that himself and Jerry Briscoe at the time that they were at the last Nitro said if there was anybody that you wanted, make sure it is Stacy Keibler. Because they knew Vince McMahon. Yep. They knew what Vince McMahon liked.
Yep.
They saw Stacy Keibler and they're like, Vince.
Yep. Yeah. This is what you want, Vince. Yep. And I mean, wasn't there a rumor about them two? There's always rumors.
There's always rumors. There's tons of rumors and innuendo and everything with wrestling.
But the main point of us talking about this is body shaming.
Especially in today's world where you have like the hashtag Me Too movement.
Yep.
You have women who are of the thicker BBW, curvy, voluptuous persuasion.
Right.
Having certain stereotypes to them. And everything. And then, of course, they're just trying to be happy in their own skin.
Right.
But in this day and age, when you see Hollywood today and everything, it's like, no, you got to be 120 pounds and thin, and this is what everybody wants. No, that's not what everybody wants.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, Pat G even likes the thicker woman.
I do.
You do? I do. But, I mean, I don't understand why us as a business in pro wrestling are always looking for the perfect body or perfect, whatever figure, especially on the women. And women have it harder because they know they are the, air quotes, sex symbol of the company.
They're the eye candy,
exactly,
so to speak.
But as soon as the veil came off, though, for pro wrestling, and as soon as WWE decided to say, hey, wait a minute, let's not look for all these big, buff, muscular guys, because they were horrible. When they brought in like 4 or 5 muscular guys, they were horrible.
Yeah.
You can name a lot of them, like I can name a lot of them. But when they actually decided to bring in guys that weren't as buff and big, like Kevin Owens, you know what I'm saying? He's not big and muscular.
He's not.
I mean, he's a big guy, but he's not muscular. He's not that.
He's not the prototypical WWE fit.
Exactly. Wrestles with a damn shirt on.
Same thing with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn. Not the prototypical WWE
exactly
prototype.
And because that's been done, because that whole veil has come off, why can't it be the same for women? When Karma was wrestling.
Yep.
People did that with Nia Jax. People just did it with Nia Jax not too long ago.
Yeah.
So why is it happening still? That stigma of, oh, you gotta have the perfect body. Oh, you gotta be this. No, it's not about that. It's about wrestling.
And granted, it was a storyline years ago. But when Michelle McCool and Layla were Layla, when they had the thing about Mickey James, calling her Piggy James.
Yeah. I mean, but Mickey James is thick as hell.
She is.
Lord have mercy.
She is.
Claw.
But still, that's the kind of the the ballpark of that.
Yeah, and she's still fake now.
She is.
Yeah.
And Natalia's gone on record about at one point she was really unhappy with herself because she had to be.
Yeah.
She felt like she needed to be super skinny to compete. Mm-hmm. And she was super unhappy with herself. And then she finally was just like, listen, I'm a thicker girl. I accept this. This is who I am.
Yep. I mean, and that's what society should accept as well. You know, because when it comes to the wrestling, it's not about the body. I mean, the body can be a plus. The body is I take that back, not a plus. Mm-hmm. But the body is a portion of it. Mm-hmm. It's not the full portion of it.
No.
Same thing, like I said, I'll bring up Kevin Owens again. Kevin Owens can wrestle. Kevin Owens can talk on the mic. Kevin Owens can move. Does Kevin Owens look like a professional wrestler? Not really. Not in the days and age of the 24-inch pythons. Yeah. You know, and the ooh yeahs, because that's when they all wanted bodybuilders, big guys, you know, or tall big guys. Nowadays, it's not like that anymore.
Well, another thing is the thing with look at Samoa Joe.
Right.
Samoa Joe. I've come to learn that at one point when WWE was looking at Samoa Joe, they looked at him and were like...
They said no.
They said no because it was just another fat Samoan.
Exactly. And they didn't want him. They
wanted somebody that looked like The Rock.
Yep.
Case in point, that's why you have the Usos and Roman Reigns.
Exactly.
Because back in the day, Samoans were badasses.
Yep.
But they weren't the most muscular guys.
Right. Yep. And that's why when Samoa Joe was being looked at the first time, they didn't want him.
Yep.
And then they were like, wait a minute, this guy is it. Because you just brought Kevin Owens in.
Yep.
How can you not bring in Samoa Joe?
Exactly.
So, everything has changed now. And that's why it's not right that this man completely body shamed
Peyton Royce. Putting on probably
for looking good,
and maybe putting on a little bit more muscle for the main roster.
It doesn't even make a difference. We're not even gonna say muscle or anything. He's body shaming her because his style of what he thought she looked like.
Yep. From days in NXT to now.
From what he may not like is different from what's going on now. Plus, she looks good. Like she looked good then. She looks really good now.
Yep. Absolutely.
So how is it that's okay? I mean, I don't think it's okay. I hope it's not okay. I hope people don't think that it's okay.
Yeah, it's not. And a lot of people, and you saw from the Twitter reactions from multiple people within the business, they're like, listen, no, this is not okay. And then they went after him about the half-assed apology.
Yeah. Yeah. Half-assed apology. That's crazy. But that's that. I hope nobody body shames anybody.
No, not at all.
I'm going to body shame you, Pat G, though.
You're bigger than I am.
I know, but...
How does that work?
I'm just going to body shame you, though.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break. We're going to listen to some commercials and pay some bills. You got to listen to JC Money's voice. I'm sorry, but, he's the boss. So listen to that, and you'll come back and listen to me. Deuces. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cyclone Jones, and I am with Pat G. The G stands for gangster. And remember, the TTRP is sponsored by the Gear Network store through Amazon. If you visit shopgear.com, it's a little bit different. That's shop, GERE.com, and click on any of the banners. It will take you right to your account, and you can do all your Amazon shopping there.
When you shop Amazon and Amazon Prime, but Amazon kicks back a small percentage of your purchases back to us here at the Gear Network so we can continue to bring you the great program that you've come to know and love, like the TTRP Turnbuckle Talk Radio podcast, Better Live Than Dead, the FTW podcast, the JC Money Show, and Trust the Podcast from the Gear Network. So that's shopgear.com. SHOPGERE.com for all your Amazon and Amazon Prime purchases from us here at the Gear Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Final segment of the hour. We are here talking about SummerSlam.
Well, the SummerSlam weekend.
That weekend.
Yeah.
So what?
Listen,
NXT, first up,
details.
NXT.
Takeover 4.
Takeover 4.
In Brooklyn.
Up
first, you saw the Undisputed Era retaining the NXT Tag Team Championships against Mustache Mountain.
That was a good match. It was really good. It was fast paced. It told a story. I was entertained the whole entire match.
It was a beautiful mix of the formula of new and old school tag team wrestling.
Yes.
Up next, you saw EC3 taking on the Velveteen Dream, and Velveteen Dream picking up that finally big time NXT Takeover victory.
I didn't like this match.
No.
Also, did you hear about Velveteen Dream being Dream? Erase that.
Nope.
We'll do it later. Did you hear about Velveteen Dream being in trouble?
I did not.
His tights. Says, call me up, Vince.
Oh, the call me up, Vince thing.
So basically, he is in trouble for that. So Triple H said that if that is what you meant to have yourself called up to the WWE, Raw and SmackDown, there are going to be consequences. Because Vince McMahon did not like that on his tights. However, my thing is,
I hear that.
If you didn't like that on his tights, somebody had to see that on his tights in order to, before he went out.
Somebody had to see something.
Somebody saw something. So yes, he is in hot water right now until it's been confirmed that he's not. But yes, he is in trouble for his tights. That said, call me up, Vince, on the front and the back.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, in between that match and the next match, it was announced that Matt Riddle had been signed to an NXT contract as he was in the Brooklyn crowd. Mm-hmm. Former UFC fighter.
Yep.
Up next, the NXT North American Championship match saw the champion Adam Cole defending against Ricochet. Ricochet picking up the victory. And holy mother of God, did you see that super kick spot?
Match of the mother boop night. I bleeped myself.
I saw that.
Match of the night.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
That pinpoint super kick, just shuddered. It was awesome.
Up next was the NXT Women's Title match. The champion Shayna Baszler taking on Kairi Sane, as this is one of your typical 2 out of 3 matches, your tiebreakers, as you like.
The rubber band
match. And Baszler kind of dominated this match, has the submission locked in, and Kairi Sane does that Bret Hart roll for the 1, 2, 3.
God, I missed this match, unfortunately. I didn't get to watch it.
It was a great match with Kairi Sane playing the underdog role, and Baszler telling her you don't have the killer instinct, and Kairi Sane kind of went into it, and she got that roll up and everything. And after the fact, they WWE exclusive had a thing with Shayna Baszler when she was joined by the other 3 horsewomen, and she's like, Kairi Sane didn't beat me. I lost.
Yeah. Yep.
That's simple as that.
That's pretty much what it is.
And then, of course, the main of the night, main event of the evening, the last man standing match, the champion Tommaso Ciampa taking on Johnny Gargano. And once again, hell of a match. Not as good as their previous 2. And Tommaso Ciampa picking up the victory at the last second as Gargano let his anger get a hold of him again.
Stupid finish. Stupid ending. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. It was a great match. Great match. I thought the ending was stupid. He had him beat already.
Yeah.
And he continued to go on. I mean, I can understand, it's anger. But isn't it better revenge to take the title, something that he loves?
Yep.
That's the whole reason why you're there.
Absolutely. And also, it's kind of like you don't know where they go from here because, I'm sorry, as great as Ciampa and Gargano are,
you can't keep doing
they've essentially had the same match the last 3 times.
Yes. You can't do any more with each other. End it.
Yeah.
You know?
There's not anything else you can go to.
Yeah.
So that's NXT TakeOver. On to the card Resistance SummerSlam. As you saw the Raw Tag Team Championships being defended on the pre-show. The champions, the B team, picking up the victory by pure luck over the Revival.
Listen, B team, go.
B team, go away.
B team, go.
No.
Did you see the promo they did with the Miz?
I saw the promo they did.
I loved it.
And it was hilarious.
I loved it.
But no, go away. B
Yo,
team.
stop hating on the B team, dude.
Done.
Stop hating.
Done.
Stop
They
hating.
beat the Revival. The Revival needs the tag team titles. Just saying.
No.
Opening the show was the Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins, the champion, defending against Dolph Ziggler with Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose in the respective corners.
Yes. Dean was the first one out, and the crowd erupted.
Dean's looking very muscular these days.
Yes, he is. He's keeping that, he's keeping that weight on. Maybe he doesn't look as good as he did in his NXT days. He put some weight on.
Yeah. But this was the back and forth match and everything. Great. It wasn't the quote unquote match that everybody was expecting. It was good. It just felt like it was missing something at sometimes.
Okay.
At points.
Okay.
They get to the end of the match. Drew McIntyre tries to involve himself. Dean Ambrose playing the equalizer hits the double deeds. Seth Rollins throws the super kick and the curbs and the blackout 1, 2, 3 as your new IC champion. And big out to Seth Rollins with the Thanos gear.
Yeah, the Thanos gear. That was pretty sweet. Next match was the New Day, and they switched it up. Big E and Xavier Woods wrestled this match.
Did you see the gear that the New Day had?
I did not.
Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails.
Oh, I gotta watch that over now. Because
Kofi had the Sonic gear. Big E had Knuckles, and Xavier Woods had like Tails.
I was in the middle of cooking at that time, so
yeah.
I was listening. I wasn't watching. But the New Day went up against the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yep.
And the Bludgeon Brothers did win.
Via the disqualification. Because the New Day took the fight to the Bludgeon Brothers like no one else has had before.
But they have to, though. Well, let me start. The New Day won. I said the Bludgeon Brothers won. The New Day won.
Yeah.
They defeated the Bludgeon Brothers, but they're still the champions because disqualification does not make the title change hands.
Very true.
Next title match was Charlotte Flair, Carmella, and Becky Lynch. This match was really good. I thought Carmella actually did very well.
Carmella impressed me very much so. Becky Lynch finally gets the disarmer on.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, here comes Charlotte, hits the natural selection, picks up the 1, 2, 3. And once again, I'm sorry, this was my reaction at the minute Charlotte won. Really? Again?
Don't worry about it. Becky Lynch is going to win the title because now they're turning her heel.
Well, that was the post-match. They do the friendly embrace hug, and Becky kind of like put her hand over the title, and I'm going, I was like, wait for it. And all of a sudden, Becky Lynch slaps the shit out of Charlotte, throws her over the announce table.
Yep.
And the funny thing is WWE thinks the crowd's going to have sympathy for Charlotte. Nope. They loved every minute of Becky Lynch beating that ass.
Because Becky Lynch should have been, they wanted to be that tough guy. Now they're tired of Becky Lynch not doing it. So I love it. It's a great thing.
Yep.
Samoa Joe defeated AJ Styles by disqualification. I really didn't care for the match. I really didn't. And then he's bleeding, and his daughter didn't want to come to him. It just wasn't. I just didn't feel the match. What do you think?
It was there. It was. They had some great callbacks to like previous matches back in their days of like TNA and everything.
Yeah.
But it just. I'm not too. The DQ finish kind of threw it off because I'm hoping, rematch Hell in the Cell where both guys can go all out.
Yep.
And everything, but
I don't know. Next title match.
Nope, this is my match of the night.
Oh, your match. Go for it.
This is my match.
I'm sorry.
Daniel Bryan taking on The Miz.
Yeah. Okay.
And these two Maurice and Monroe Sky were at ringside.
Okay.
For the match and everything. And these two had a hell of a match. This was another great match. They played extremely well into the story that had been building the last 8 years. Miz picking up the victory here, which I called, which was my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
makes sense since it's the first match and he cheated.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is it makes sense because he fucked over Bryan to do so.
Right.
But proving the point that Bryan's style is dangerous and he needs to whatever, and Miz's style of being safe and your more balls to the wall style is going to cost you is what it did. Bryan went, granted, yes, he cheated, he had the brass knucks, whatever, but Bryan went for the suicide dive and got caught.
Right.
Everything. So it's good. It's what it's needed to do for the first match, and I'm very excited to see what they do from here on out with these two.
Okay. Next matchup was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy, and this was an okay match. I mean, I'm not a fan of Jeff Hardy.
This was my refilling the plate match.
Yeah, it really was. I think this needs to go away now.
I'm hoping it does.
Shinsuke beat him clean, and it was done and over with.
Randy Orton came out and was like, got down the ringside, and he was like,
yeah, I'm going to leave. Then Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss squash match, which pissed me off.
But before, Natalya came out wearing her father's jacket from 1990 when the Hart Foundation won the tag titles.
At SummerSlam,
which was very cool.
Yep. I didn't like this match for the simple fact that they made Alexa look like a punk. Like, Alexa is still a pro wrestler. Regardless of the fact Ronda Rousey is a badass. Yes, she is. But Alexa just beat all these people to be a badass. I understand she's a heel and she won by dirty tactics, but she's still a wrestler. You made her look like a punk. I didn't like that.
I will agree with you, but in the quote-unquote typical sense of pro wrestling, Alexa Bliss being the heel got exactly what she deserved.
I understand that.
But yeah, it was a little bit too much domination by Ronda Rousey in her essentially third singles match of her WWE career.
Yep, it was. I didn't like the part where Ronda was talking around, you guys ready for a new women's champion?
Yeah.
And Alexa Bliss is just sitting there. You didn't really do anything to her yet for her not to reverse that.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense to me.
I will say this. I did like the fact that Alexa Bliss did that weird dislocation elbow thing that she
popped
does.
Her elbow again.
She popped her elbow again.
I really hate when I see that.
And I was like, I didn't see it. I had to rewatch it. And I was like,
I watched it.
I was like, yes, she did it.
Yeah, I was watching.
Because that is so freaking cool.
It was nasty.
And of course, the main event of the evening, the Universal Championship match, Brock Lesnar taking on Roman Reigns. And before we can get to the match, Braun Strowman comes out and says, unlike everybody else that has had this stupid little briefcase, I'm going to stand outside and I'm going to wait till the match is over. And then I'm going to cash in.
Then I'm cashing in.
So
right in your face.
I'm coming.
So whoever's winning is getting these hands.
Well, right after that, Braun Strowman leaves the ring. Superman punch, Superman punch, Superman punch. Spear, going for the third spear. Brock gets him a guillotine choke. At the second spear, I was like, oh, we're doing this? Okay, I'm okay with this. Roman wins quickly. Braun Strowman comes in, gets his hand, done.
That's what I thought.
Braun, that's what I was thinking. But nope. They get to a point where Roman goes for a suicide dive outside. Brock dodges. He takes out Braun. And then Brock Lesnar pretty much goes outside and decides to handle Braun Strowman.
Yep.
Throws the briefcase away. And because of his focus was so much on Strowman, lost the eyes on the prize, came to the ring, spear, Roman Reigns finally beats Brock Lesnar, is now your Universal Champion.
Yep.
And the crowd didn't boo.
They didn't hate it as much as they've been booing him.
Yes.
I think they're happy now that the title's going to be on TV now, finally.
I think that's what a lot of people are glad for.
They did have a you both suck chant, though.
Yes, they did.
They did. But I'm happy that now Roman has the title. It's going to be on television. Now they can actually build it back up to where it should be.
Exactly.
Like they're doing with the Intercontinental Championship.
The champion is now going to be there week in, week out. He can defend the title. You can build up challengers.
Yep. There's so much prestige behind the Intercontinental Championship. Yep. Now they can build it back to
And you still have Braun Strowman with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Now things get interesting.
Yes.
So
because now Roman Reigns not only has to worry about challengers, he's also got to worry about Braun Strowman.
Exactly. So that's the show. Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast. We covered everything that's, current right now. We'll get back to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great night, great day, great weekend.
I'm trying to figure out how we're still 13 minutes short.
We're not. You put some space in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's with the space, the total time.
No, because you started off at 30 unless you deleted something. And I hope you didn't delete anything.
No.
All right, then. Well, we'll check it out later. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we end the show. Cyclone!
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.